Hello, Steve Mills here, back on the my podcast, on the Results podcast. It's great to be here, and it's great to be sharing some more ideas with you. Now, those of you who are regular listeners to my podcast will be aware that I've been, every so often, I share another one of my CDs from my Raise Your Game program. This is a program that I developed many years ago. It's 12 CDs. It's probably about, 10 hours of really good content, some of my best content, some great interviewers from world-leading experts and so on and so forth. I think we're on number 8. This is the 8th one that I've taken the CD and I've turned it into an online program for you via the podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I hope you enjoy. I'm sure you will as you listen to CD number 8 on my Raise Your Game program. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you briefly at the end. Hello, my name is Steve Mills, and I'd like to welcome you to the Raise Your Game program. As usual, I'm here to share with you some tried, tested, and proven ideas to massively grow your business. But first, how did you get on last month? Did you stop, for example, selling hamburgers? You remember I spoke about the difference between working in the business, selling hamburgers as the McDonald brothers did, compared with actually running a business and growing a business. So hopefully you managed to allocate a little bit more time to working on rather than in your business. What did you do last month to improve yourself? You know, we said that it's important to grow and to develop and to learn new stuff. Certainly in marketing, it's a massive area. Loads of changes are happening right now, and you need to be at the cutting edge. Did you define your niches for your business? You know, what particular niches have you got? And if you did you do anything about it? Did you start, bringing in marketing campaigns and telling people about your experience in a certain niche? So if you didn't do that, then, now's the time to take action. Did you start perhaps the process of building those multiple income streams? I spoke about looking at what you're doing at the moment, getting the very best out of that, and then building additional marketing streams onto what you've already got. You may have spent a little bit of time looking at the idea of verisimilitude. You remember me talking about Peter Thompson and his use of that word, which, if you don't recall that, it means the appearance of the truth. So did your marketing appear to be truthful? And you maybe needed to look at some of the headlines, some of the words, some of the copy, to make sure it had a good level of verisimilitude. And lastly, have you now got a stack of testimonials on your website? Are they in a PDF? Are they in a nice leather folder, a bounder that you can show people who are potentially going to be customers? So this month then, I'm going to talk to you once again about lead generation and conversion. I'm going to provide you with some great thoughts and ideas on how you can increase the number and the quality of your leads and then turn those into business. So, what have you done in the past 7 days? What have you done in the past 7 days to improve yourself? My favourite saying is, if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you always got. And that's simply not true anymore. Rest assured, if you keep doing the same old marketing in the same old way, the rewards are going to reduce, and so is your business. Now is the time to take action. Now is the time to raise your game and do something about it. Here are some ideas that can help you to do just that. First one I'm going to talk about this month then is social media, social networking, online social networking. Call it what you will. It's all about how to get more from the many hundreds of different social media sites that there are out there. I'm talking about sites like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and eAcademy and all those types of things. A couple of Raise Your Game programs ago, I spoke about the database that you need, the social media sites that you need to be on. So I'm got no real conversation for you from that point of view today, other than I'd strongly recommend that you specialize. You select 2, 3, maybe 4 different sites that you're going to use for all your social media. It's very easy to spread yourself too thin and try and put information on 15, 20, 30, 100 sites and really miss the mark. So, focus. Select yourself 2, 3, 4 sites. So once you've selected the media, the sites that you're going to use, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or one of the others, the next thing we need to think about is building that database, because that's what it's all about. If you think about what Facebook is, for you as a business, it is a database. It's a way of linking people, of finding friends. And obviously, from a business point of view, these need to be business friends. In other words, people who are interested in what you've got to say. So certainly, you don't want to be telling people about what you've had for breakfast or where you're going at the weekend. You might want to include some of that, but a lot of the content wants to be business-based. You want to talk about business. Just think of it as though you're going along to a breakfast meeting and you're talking to a whole load of business owners. What are they going to be interested in? Yeah, they may be interested in the fact that you're playing golf at the weekend, but they're going to be far more interested in finding out about your business, what you do, and how you can maybe help them. So make sure that when you're building your database, you're constantly looking for the right type of people. It's no real value to most businesses having thousands and thousands of friends on Facebook and them not being really relevant. I spoke a few moments ago about the importance of niching. So you're going to look for people who are linked to people that you know that may be interested in what you do and what you've got to say. And you need to be really proactive in building that database. My own personal database on Facebook, for example, has built and built and built, and it's now got to an extent where I probably get about 10, 15, maybe 20 people every day asking to link to me. That's without me doing anything. And I'm proactive, so I'm constantly out there looking for additional people. So it's a great tool if you use it. However, what most business owners do is they put their profile up on Facebook or their profile up on LinkedIn or one of the others and then do nothing and so get no business. And they find that 6 months down the line, they've literally won very little business and they've only got 15, whether it's friends, followers or connections, whatever they're called on that particular site. So be proactive, build the database, link to people that you need to link to, and then we need to think about the third thing, and that is working the database. You need to tell people about the information that is of relevance to them. So you need to consistently add information. Now, you can do that through your own profile on there, or you could do that through, certainly on Facebook and LinkedIn, you could form a group. So, for example, on Facebook, I've got a group called the Masterclass Marketing Group, and everybody on that group, I believe, is interested in marketing. Well, why wouldn't they be? Who'd join a group called the Masterclass Marketing Group who wasn't interested in marketing? I think we all know the answer. So clearly, making sure that it's focused on, the group is focused on the needs of your business and the type of people that you're wanting to attract. And then market the group. Tell people about the group. Tell all your current database, your clients, add it to your footer on your email, add it to your website, tell people, drive people, use the social media and your website to drive people to each. So you're constantly, let's say for example, you put some information about a special event that you're running on Twitter or on Facebook. And what you do then is to link that to the actual article or the information that's on your website. So what you're doing in effect is putting what I term teaser copy on Facebook. In other words, just to let you know, I'm running an event and it's going to be on the 23rd of whatever month. And, check out this website for further details. So I'm constantly using my Facebook connection to drive people to my website. This has an additional advantage of getting loads of people to my website, which in effect helps me get higher ratings on Google and the other search engines. So this is a really, really good thing to do. And you need, and I need to do this consistently. Now, what I mean by consistently is ideally, I'd say every day. In reality, that may need to be 2, 3, 4 times per week. It doesn't take long, but it just takes a little bit of consistency. So, it may only take me personally about 10 minutes a day, just going through, linking a few things, putting a bit of info, and making sure that I'm informing and helping. There is a watchword to this, though, and that is don't try and sell too hard. Now, notice I said too hard. That doesn't mean don't try and sell. It means, just be a little bit careful with it. Just make sure a lot of the information on there is very educational. You're helping people. You're telling people about information that you found out about that might be useful to them. And so you're helping. And then you might, sneak in there with a little bit of salesmanship or saleswomanship. So that's all I've got to say at the moment on that. So try and improve your own knowledge. Look at the various, places that you can learn stuff. I'm probably going to be doing some seminars, so please, do check out my website. I wouldn't be doing right if I didn't tell you about that. So check out my website, and no doubt from time to time I'll be running seminars that you might be interested in coming along to. The next thing I'm going to talk about is how to defend price. I promised last month that I would do a session on this, and it's an issue for a lot of people. Price is so emotive. The price of something at the cheaper end compared with the top end can be incredibly different. Whether that's a solicitor, an accountant, getting your car washed, it doesn't really matter. The price you pay for something can be very, very emotive. And, if you think about, how much is something worth? Well, the answer is always it's worth what anybody will pay for it. So just before I talk about price, I'd just like you to think about what price are you before you're going to defend it. Where are you in the market? Are you at a boot fair? Are you at, Marks and Spencer's, sort of mid-market type organisation? Or are you at Harrods? Where are you in the market? And have you ever price tested? Have you ever tested putting your price up? Have you tested putting your price down? How do you know that your price is right? And on many occasions, I've helped my clients to increase their price, and their actual number of conversions go up. It's really weird that more people will buy because they consider that they're getting a better service because it's more expensive. So, look at this thing called price and test. Where are you in your market? What is your place? Are you too expensive? Are you just right, or are you below cost? So let's look about how to defend price. I'd like you to answer a question, and actually it's more of a statement, and that statement is, you are too expensive. What would you say if somebody said that to you? They said, well, I really like what you're saying you can do, but the bottom line is it's too expensive. We just don't have the budget. What would you say? How would you answer that? Well, you could say, well, I tell you what we'll do. I'll reduce my price by 10% or 20%. You could say to them, well, what is your budget? And they say, well, your quote was £8,000, and to be honest, we've only got 5. So we'll drop down to that figure. But, price is, as I said, very emotive, and how much something is worth is very, very varied. What I want you to do is to get the full value. What do you want, and what is it that you're going to try and get? So let's start by looking at a few strategies. The first thing that I believe you should say is, yes, that's true. We are more expensive. Would you be interested in finding out why? Because if you try and argue with somebody, if I say, black's black and white's white, and I get on one side of the fence and you're on the other, and you're saying we're not expensive, I'm saying you are, then, that's probably not going to work out. I'm saying one thing, you're disagreeing. So say, yeah, that's absolutely true. we are more expensive. Would you like to know why? What's he going to say to that? Or she going to say to that? They're going to say, yeah, sure. Now, what you've got there is an opportunity to explain why you're more expensive. A great statement that I've used for many years is to say, that's very, very true. Let me explain why. But before I do that, can I ask you a question? Are you looking for the cheapest in the market, or is it really about value for money? Now, in all the years I've been saying that, I don't think anybody has ever said cheap. And if they do, or if they have, then it's been the odd one. You know, most people hate to be thought of as cheap. People love to think that they're sensible, they're articulate, and what they want really is value for money. A lot of people, it's interesting, when I'm teaching salespeople to sell, they tell me that people always want the cheapest. When I ask those same salespeople if they've bought anything at all because it was the cheapest, they generally say no. I'll say to them, have you got the cheapest shoes you could find? Have you got the cheapest trousers or the cheapest watch or the cheapest briefcase? Did you come here in the cheapest car you could find? Have you got the cheapest laptop? Have you got the cheapest anything? And generally they'll say no. Okay, there's a few exceptions, and there are people out there who want the cheapest of whatever it is. But, if you can persuade people that what they really want is value for money, then all you've got to do is to explain the difference that your value for money provides to them as opposed to one of the cheaper competitors. Some of you may know that, I think it was about 18 months ago, I was fortunate enough to meet James Caan. You may know James Caan from Dragon's Den. He's one of the dragons, and a man who I've known not well, but I've certainly come to respect. I've heard him speak at several events, and one particular event, he spoke about the 5 principles of success, the things he believed really made the difference between a successful business and one that's maybe not so successful. So James's number 1 was to share the vision. He really believed that A, a business needs a vision, and B, that business needs to share the vision with the people within the company. He also believes in sharing the success. So if his business is going to be successful, then the people working in that business are going to share in that success. And I don't know about you, but that just makes so much sense to me. If I'm going to employ people and inspire people and get people to help me become more successful, then, it just makes sense to allow people to share in that success. The third principle is to attract great people. He really believed, and I spoke a couple of Raise Your Games ago about making sure that you have great systems in your business, but James was spoken about the attracting great people. So how do you do that? How do you make your business attract the best people? He also said number 4, which I thought was quite funny, but also really, really true. He said, hire people better than yourself. You're going to get the best people into your business. A lot of people who run businesses like to be very proud of the fact that they know how to do every single thing within their business and they're experts in whatever it is they do. But James said, hire the best people, hire great people, and look for people that are better than you. That's the only way of taking the business to where you really want to go. And fifth, and by no means least, encourage what he termed intrapreneurship. A lot of people talk about entrepreneurs in business, and his definition of an intrapreneur was an entrepreneur that worked within the business, an entrepreneur that was within your business. So he spoke about encouraging that. In other words, again, it's something that I teach and preach about, and that is getting people to look at every single little thing within your business and saying, how can that be better? If you just did that to your business, just that one tip from the Raise Your Game program, that would take your business to the totally another level. It would make a massive difference. It would pay for the Raise Your Game program for the rest of your life. If you took that one idea, if you worked on one thing in your business every single day and you improve something by just 1%, in a year, you're not even going to be 365% better, because the whole thing is going to stack and stack and stack. So, encourage entrepreneurship and encourage people to look at every single thing. The layout of your reception, the way you answer the phone, how easy it is to park at your business, the decor of your office or your shop or whatever it is. All these things make a big difference. How your people look, how your salespeople look when they go into that really important, £100,000 deal. Are their shoes clean? The little things make the big difference. We've now come to the guest speaker section of this month's Raise Your Game program. And those of you who know me know that I'm a real advocate of learning. This is why I've produce the Raise Your Game program, so people can learn on a consistent basis. And one of the programs that I bought, I think it's probably a couple of years ago now, is something called the Millionaire MBA. And the Millionaire MBA is basically a group of the UK's top business people. Many of the sort of several dragons and Simon Woodruff and various other people all been interviewed and asked really searching business questions. And I'd strongly recommend, you go out and have a look for it on the internet, the Millionaire MBA. The guy that actually produced it, Richard Parks Cordock, has now also produced a new system, which is a video-based system that allows people to access training online and provides internal training for businesses by just signing up to this program. So, again, type his name and details in and go and check that out. Without further ado then, we're going to listen to some of the UK's leading millionaires, leading business people talking about the power of networking.
In business, there is this thing called the 3 R's: relationships, relationships, relationships. And business is about how you work with people, how you do deals with people, how you treat people. And being an Australian doing business in Britain, I am very aware of the different types of ties and relationships that people in Britain in business have. And you can't underestimate the amount of energy and time you need to put into relationships, because you can't do everything by yourself, and you can't expect that everyone's always going to be on board with you. And at times you'll need to take, and so you have to build up those credits of those relationships. When it comes to networking, I do an enormous amount of business through networking. The old thing about, 6 degrees of separation is absolutely true. You can be in a room and you'll find two of those degrees of separation. And when you plot what happens as a result of a useful interaction, the output is absolutely enormous. If I could visually plot on a graph, if you're networking, the arch will be going up. You will get to where you want to go sooner, undoubtedly. It is like putting fertilizer on a plant. It is like being in a greenhouse. If you deny yourself of networking, you will not do as much business, because from each introduction you have, something comes of it. And something comes of it, especially if you know what you want. And then it's always with networking, it's about reciprocity. It's not just about you taking everything you need from the people. How can you value add to them? In Australia, we have a saying called touchstones, which, if you've ever seen Aboriginal paintings, are all those little dots that connect people and things up. It's about relationships. In Australia, with Aboriginal people, when you meet them, they look for that touchstone. What's that unifying common thread? What's that line between me and you? What have we got in common? Were we born in the same town? Do our parents know each other? Have we been to the same place? And that's very much how networking works. You need a commonality with people, no matter what it is. Sport, travel, business, friends, family, values. But you need to have some kind of touchstone. And that's what networks are built on. That's what relationships are built on. And that's where business really kicks in enormously.
Well, here's something, is that I don't actually say networking. I'm very interested in building long-term relationships with people. And I do care about people. There are people that I meet and I decide not to, that I don't need to know them because I don't like what I see when I first get to know them. So I'm somebody who likes to build long-term relationships. I think I'm reasonably good at that. And people attribute that as networking to me because I'm curious about people. When I read in the newspaper that some guy sold his business and made a ton of money, I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to write that guy a letter. And I do. And he'll meet with me. And then now I guess to the outside world, it's just like, oh, well, there she goes again. She's networking, which I suppose I am. But for me, it's about, wow, that person's been successful. I wonder what's the magic that they have. I'd love to hear their story. And then I go and I'm a good listener and I ask questions and then they tell me more. And then I suppose they're in my network at that point, but I don't even think about it that way. And I think that's probably why it's successful, is that I don't use people. It's not a utilitarian thing. I remember when I came to London and I was trying to get a job in venture capital, I focused on bringing as much information as I could to the venture capitalists I was meeting, asking for a job. So I was networking with all the entrepreneurs, and that's why Tim Jackson offered me a job at QXL. So I'd meet with Herman Hauser or Christopher Spray, and I'd sit there and I said, did you know that Tim Jackson just got 10 million the other day? And he said, oh, really? Jerusalem Ventures, And by bringing the information, am I using them if I'm giving them information that's helping them? But, there was that, again, by focusing on what I brought, I ended up getting more. And I ended up positioning myself in the center of a community, which I suppose is kind of networking, because, that's what networking does. It enables you to be part of that hub, that circle, rather than on the outside. So it's incredibly important. But I think the best networkers are people who focus on long-term relationships, who are not utilitarian about it, who don't give their networks away and don't violate their networks in any way. And like I said earlier about that win-win thing, it's just I've had a number of people that have worked with me that have said kind of like, you're really genuinely interested in people. And I said, yeah, it's tiring. I mean, it is, but I am. When I would come home for First Tuesday, I remember just kind of thinking, I've got to be by myself now. I've listened to 40 different stories about people's businesses. Don't want to hear any more. But, I still to this day, I get emails from people who say, it was that thing that you said at First Tuesday Munich, blah, blah, blah. I did it. It changed my business model. And so, the point is just that the ripple effects of networking just go so far that it's a very worthwhile use of your time. You can't spend all of your time networking or you won't do anything, though. So you have to confine it.
Well, I think networking is hugely important. If only for the fact that if you network with people, you get to know people and you deal with people either through your own personal contact and building up of confidence and relationship with those people, or you get recommended through somebody else to other people. There are so many cowboys in this world that I feel far happier networking and finding the right people through that route than, say, putting an advert on the internet and hoping for the best. And particularly, I'm terribly suspicious and jaundiced, but particularly people who come to you offering services, my instinct now is, well, what's their agenda? So I would far rather be introduced to people through networks.
Networking is also used to gain new information to keep you current in your area of expertise, with the ultimate view to selling more business and keeping you ahead of your competitors. Networking provides a way of finding out information that your competition doesn't have. Thomas Power talks of a recent presentation he attended where the presenter had just sold a £2 billion IT deal in Europe and beat competition that by rights should normally have won. He did this through networking. Listen as Thomas Power tells this story and to a few more entrepreneurs who share more thoughts on networking.
He talked about the importance of networking for intelligence, for reconnaissance, and how he beat the other two organisations. I think he's CSC, and he was bidding against Accenture and IBM. And he beat them to a deal that they should normally have won. And he said he did it with reconnaissance intelligence, is the words he used, but spending time with people, networking, and he basically locked out all their information. He locked out Accenture and IBM's source to information. And that gave him enough to win.
I make it my business to know players within our industry, and we've just been appointed to run an arena, a big theatre at the Motor Show. And in our industry, the Motor Show is the biggest show in the country, and we've just been selected to run the biggest feature at the biggest show. And they rang us and asked us to pitch and encouraged us to win it and asked us to do it, and that's coming through networking and reputation. So when that's happening, that's quite nice, but that's because you've built a set of relationships and people are very nice about you. So yeah, it's important. I've kind of made it my job to do that.
I think it depends a lot on what sort of line of work you're in. In the deal game, if you are constantly engaged in acquisitions and investment, it's quite important because you never know where the next opportunity is going to come from. So you need to mix it a bit with key people. I think in most trades it's helpful. I don't think it's vital in most lines of work that I know of, but it's very important to keep up with trade gossip, to hear who might be available to hire, to hear about key customers looking for a new order, to hear about great new supplier, these sorts of things. And I think that knowing your competitors and suppliers and customers and so forth and meeting with them in a trade context is all very useful. It gives you greater understanding and depth of your trade and can't be any harm.
Yes, yeah, we go to trade shows on a regular basis. We go to markets and events where new systems are being unveiled and new product is being unveiled, and we talk to our customers about new products that are coming out. We talk to our suppliers, who in turn talk to us about new products that they are bringing out. So yeah, networking is massive in terms of you. Of course, you need to know about what products are coming out, and you need to become accustomed with them so that you can explain the workings of those products to your customers. It's no good a customer coming in that has happened to me before, and it's unforgivable when a customer comes in and tells me about a product that's being released into the fishing industry and I don't know about it. Sacrilege. I'm the one that's telling the customer's not telling me. So you need to have your head in all the trade manuals, all the books that are associated, all the manuscripts that are associated with your industry, learning all the time about who are the players and what new products coming out, how it works, what it does, so you can then be the oracle to your customer when he walks through the door. By the way, did you know there was a blah, blah, blah coming out that does just what you've wanted, just what you've asked for, and it's only blah, cash or credit card, sir?
So there we have it. Hope you enjoyed that excerpt from Raise Your Game. We've got 3 more to go, which I'll definitely be featuring on future webinars then, future podcasts. Let's get your format right, Steve. I will be doing my daily webinar for those of you who are interested. The daily webinar is called Results. It's all about how to improve your sales and marketing results. And if you think about marketing for a few moments, the investment in marketing often is pretty fixed. You're going to spend an amount of money on advertising or on your website, or it costs you so much per month to pay somebody to do email marketing and so on. But the rewards you get from that marketing can vary massively. Anything from no rewards, you send an email out and it bombs, it doesn't win any business at all, right up to, you send an email out and you get a fantastic lead, you have a couple of meetings, and like one of my clients, turns out 6 months later, they do a sale for £42 million. And that actually was from a LinkedIn contact. They put some effort and time into LinkedIn. They'd gone on my training course, learned how to do LinkedIn, and made £42 million. Another client was spending £2,000 a month on their advertising. That's been advertising for 6 months. This particular advert spent 12 grand, won zero business. I went in there, I had a look, I spent about 15 minutes with them, changed the words in the headline of the advert, and the following month they made £5 million. And it took me 15 minutes in order to sort that out. So here lies the value. If you want to meet with me, I'd be very happy to do so. But I only want to meet you, A, if you're committed to growing your business, B, if you're committed to investing in it, and C, if you're committed to taking action. Because without those three things, to be honest, it's just a waste of my time and a waste of your time. So if you want to meet up, let me know. Go to my website, stevemills.co, and look forward to speaking soon. So thank you ever so much, and have a great rest of today. Thank you.